I asked this a while ago, but I think I would get a bigger reach asking it again. How did you discover webtoons? And which one was your first? I previously said that there were plenty of ways to find a webtoon series, being Instagram or YouTube ads, to which I actually made one. Just a little humble brag there. Though ads might not be your cup of tea. Meanwhile, I think some of the easiest ways are if a friend tells you about a series, or if you found the art or an artist. Maybe you saw a Blue Chair comic on Instagram, which led you to webtoons. Depending on how you found webtoons, you found a different series. Finding someone's art or finding someone who is an artist typically lends themselves to more simple comedies or slice of lifes. Blue Chair, Safely Endangered, and other series are simple comedies or slice of life with an art style that is simple and with shorter episodes. I typically call these webtoon series nonsense webtoons. Meanwhile, ads are the opposite. They typically push more story-driven webtoon series. Your Unordinaries, your Hardcore Leveling Warriors, your Mage and Demon Queens. I first got into webtoons because one of my high school friends suggested Nano's List, which got me into reading basically everything I could. Except the second season of Nano's List. I stopped after the first, I'm sorry. However, I actually read a webtoon before that moment. While scrolling through Pinterest of all places, I found a cute little romance comic that I later found out was the webtoon original series Miss Abbott and the Doctor. A fun little romance story that takes place in the Victorian era, I think? Many of you might be thinking, why are you asking me these questions? Well, a few months ago, Miss Abbott and the Doctor ended the series, and is on the verge of becoming a Daily Pass series. So if you want to go binge read that, do it now. I've been reading webtoon for a little more than 3 years now, and I think it shows. I'm currently subscribed to, 153. Oh, I don't have a life. You can check which ones I'm reading in the Google sheet in the description. I'm subscribed to about 25 series that have finished, and it feels weird when a webtoon ends. One of the first series that I remember ending was Super Secrets. But my first webtoon ever now having ended, and a long enough time having been passed for me to be not overly emotional about it, I thought it was time to talk about the ending of webtoon series. How they should end, or if they should end. So let's talk about the end, shall we? First things first. Which webtoon series need to end and which ones don't? I mentioned a weird way I categorize webtoon series, being nonsense webtoons and story webtoons. Nonsense webtoons are webtoon series that are much more about the haha funnies, if you will. Examples are Blue Chair, Safely Endangered, My Giant Nerd Boyfriend, The Doodle Demon. Meanwhile, story webtoons are webtoon series that follow direct plots and characters. It's kind of difficult to differentiate the two sometimes. I think the easiest way to differentiate the two is if you can read the latest chapter without needing any prior knowledge. For example, Blue Chair. Blue Chair, you don't really need anything before or after to have a good time. Meanwhile, if you read Unordinary right now, you'll be very confused on what's going on. That's how I like to categorize them. Why am I explaining this? Because depending on your webtoon type, your story might not need to end. Nonsense webtoons don't ever really need to end. There is no end goal with these types of series, other than making us laugh or think or have a good time. The focus is usually just to tell jokes, as these webtoons show us. By primarily telling jokes, you don't really ever need to stop. You can stop whenever you want to, or at least whenever you run out of jokes to tell. These are your Saturday morning cartoons, flexible and without structure. However, that's about it. Nonsense webtoons are really the only types of webtoon that can never end, or don't need to end. When dealing with webtoon series that focus on telling a story, you need to understand that every story has an end to it. Sure, that end might take 500 chapters or 1,000 chapters, but the end will come eventually. So before talking about the ending of some webtoon series, check out the description on which ones I'm spoiling. Let's answer some questions. What should the ending of my webtoon accomplish? I might get some flack for this one, but the ending of a webtoon shouldn't tie up every loose end. I like to imagine every webtoon having a number of story threads. Depending on how deep your webtoon is or your story is, you might have more threads. Some being incredibly important, while others not necessarily. The main story thread should be wrapped up, even if it is a little vague, but you should also remember to keep a little openness to it. If you're confused, don't worry, I'm going to be going through some different webtoon endings and explaining why I think they work. But something we should talk about is how a genre affects the ending of a webtoon. Let me explain. With a romance webtoon's finale, you'd expect some romantic element to be at the end. Let's talk about Miss Abbott and the Doctor for a sec. Miss Abbott and the Doctor had a few moments where they legitimately just could have ended the series. Now, in a lot of other types of media, the series could have ended when they finally got into a relationship, as a lot of media surrounding romances usually push the will they won't they trope around. I understand why, too. It's because they can't make compelling romantic relationships work. Let me explain something real quick. When dealing with romance between two characters, you typically have to develop three components. Both the characters, yeah sure, but also the relationship between the two. Why it should work, why it does work, why it should continue to grow in the future. A lot of people choose not to develop their relationship. They push it off to the ends, where you don't question it. A lot of romance webtoon series could do that, but a lot don't, and if they do, that's the point. Miss Abbott and the Doctor could have pushed their relationship off till the end, but they didn't. They showed the chemistry between them continue to grow. They also could have ended it when they got married, but they didn't, which kind of surprised me. No, they ended it with a letter showing where everyone is later in life. Even if you don't count that, the episode before is an alternate reality where they're in like the 21st century. And the episode before that is just showing their daily lives as married people. Just showing how happy they are. Meanwhile, the same cannot be said about LUFF. They're happy in that one, don't worry. LUFF started out with the same stereotypical kind of pitch. In a world where everyone is matched with someone else through data, genetics, and I think fingerprints, our main character is matched to two different people. A love triangle. I'm not a big fan of love triangles. I think they're messy and, when done incorrectly, they ruin the series, and characters sometimes. But LUFF kind of mocks the trope. By the end of the series, we see our main character choose herself over her relationship. And we also get to see the rest of their lives. However, while we see a lot of what they accomplish, we also don't see a lot of their personal life, or the questions that we had. The main question being, who does she end up with? As we see her have a granddaughter, it's fairly clear that she had offspring. Is it one of the two from the love triangle? Neither of them? Both? It gives us enough of a finale that we feel satisfied, but it also raises enough questions to keep people like me, people who have no lives and seemingly do nothing else with their life, talking about it. Moving on from romances, let's talk about Toasterdude. Toasterdude was a very short webtoon series, compared to most at least, only lasting throughout the year of 2020, with about 50 chapters. Toasterdude's ending is about as expected for Toasterdude. As a series, it was meant to be both stereotypical and not. The best way I can pitch Toasterdude is, what if the plot was stereotypical, but the characters weren't? Or at least the main characters weren't. For example, take the first episode. They build up the main city to be a place where dreams are born, where heroes are made, celebrities are born. And the dreams of our main character is to buy a toaster. Toasterdude revolves around toasters. Everything that happens is because of his toaster. It gets stolen, it breaks, he buys a new one. It breaks, he gets his other one fixed, it doesn't work. Even the ending is about him getting a new toaster, and declining the mayor's invitation to become a city guardian. Ending it the way it began, with toasters and toast. Now, some of you might be questioning why I'm talking about this. Why now and why endings? You know the expression, you only get one chance at a first impression? While it's not wrong, you'll always have another chance to make another impression. You don't have to make the best first impression as long as you can correct yourself later down the line. However, in my opinion, you only get one chance at a last impression. I think the ending of a webtoon has a chance to take the webtoon off track. It has a chance to not kill it, but make it seemingly worse. Which is why I think it's one of the most important aspects of a series. You know, one of you said that you were taking notes for when you made your own webtoon, and that confuses me? I'm not educated in this. I've never made a story. The stories I have written aren't good. I'm not an artist. I've never made character arcs. I've never made a webtoon, be it an original or canvas. So it seems a bit strange that people slightly respect me? I'm just a guy who put his opinion on the internet, and people seem to agree or respect it enough to watch. I wanted to make this video, the video talking about endings, to be the first of the year of 2021. I thought talking about the endings at the beginning of the year seemed funny, but also seemingly tragic for some reason. But things changed. Something amazing happened to me. Webtoons themselves reached out to me asking for a collaboration. It seems strange that I'm here now. That I have some level of authority. That people look to me. This video is going to be different from a lot of my other analyzing webtoon series videos. Even while writing it, it felt strange. But I just wanted to thank you guys. I didn't get a chance before. I've been around this platform for some time now, nearing 2 years. And I'm grateful that you guys have stuck around for that time. I'm grateful that I can continue to grow. And since I didn't get to say it at the beginning of this year, thank you. Thank you for supporting me in the year 2020. A year that was pretty terrible for basically everyone. And I'll be honest, this year's not looking much better. But I look forward to what's to come for this channel in 2021. I have goals for this channel. I have dreams for this channel. I don't know if it'll be successful. I don't know if webtoons will continue to like me enough to reach out to me. I don't know if I have a chance on the platform of YouTube. But I kind of want to have a chance. It was never really my dream to do this. But now that I'm doing it, now that I have the ability to even slightly make this slightly profitable, I want it to be. So, thank you guys. This channel really is nothing without you. So, thank you. But, like always, thank you for watching, and thank you for sticking around through my emotional monologue.